Hey guys, what's going on? Jerome here, and today I'm doing a really quick video on the differences between the graphite version of the Nexus 6P and the Frost version of the Nexus 6P. Now, both of these phones are exactly the same except for the difference in color. The graphite version, Google likes to call it gray. To me, it looks more like a really dark gray, even closer to black. And obviously, the Frost version of the phone is white. Now, the biggest differences I've seen, obviously, one is the color. But the other thing I've noticed, if you look at the fingerprint sensor and you see the chamfered edge around the fingerprint sensor, and you can see that around the edges here too, it's a very chrome-like finish, like a mirror finish, and that is not, you know, as apparent on the graphite version. You might see a little shine around the fingerprint on the graphite version, but around the edges, I don't even think it looks as prominent. I'm just trying to see if I can get it to focus a bit. So like, yeah, I mean, if at the right angle you can see that shine, but it's not as, I guess, shiny, or it's not as showy as the Frost version. You know, I initially just opened up the Frost version and I was going to keep this, but the reason I opened the graphite one, I just opened it today actually, is because I was having some quality issues with my Frost version. Now, this phone has been working for me flawlessly as far as hardware goes, and the camera, the speakers, display, I haven't had issues with that. What I was having issues with was the actual, like, finish on the phone. So even though the phone looks pretty good from far away or whatever, if you're looking for it, and I'm going to see if the camera will show it here. There you go. I can see it right there at the camera. See that spot right there above the E? That is like some sort of oily discoloration that has been on the phone since I've gotten it. And I didn't notice it at first. I think I picked it up on the second day. And it's not like, you know, I'm very careful with my phones. I don't put it around things that would mess it up, so I really don't think it was me that did it. And actually what I found out too is if I try to move the phone like that, you see that streak here? It goes all the way down, and it makes me think that something must have happened in the manufacturing process when they were finalizing the phone that got it to show that way. And anything I've done to try to clean it off will not come off. I might see if Google can maybe just replace it for me. You know, for me, I do prefer the white version just because it's, I don't know, I guess it's a little more showy, but the graphite version is really nice too. And what's nice about the graphite one for me is the chamfered edges. They're not as shiny, and I mean, the chrome finish I like. It's not bad, but I'm actually not a fan of things that are very like chrome or shiny or mirror finish. I do like the fact that this is a lot more, you know, it looks a lot more sleek. And I guess you know, the other thing people wanted me to talk about was the feel of the phone. And so I will say that the Frost version of the Nexus 6P does feel a little more grippier than the graphite version. But when I say it feels more grippier, I don't mean by a lot. They're both still very similar feeling phones. The graphite version just has a little more slip to it, but it's not like a ton of slip. It doesn't feel like, you know, when I'm holding both of these phones, they don't feel like completely different. They still feel very similar to each other. It's just whatever finish they put on the Frost version just has a more, I guess, grippier finish. As far as both of these phones go too, with like fingerprint magnets and stuff, on the graphite version, I can see where fingerprints could be more of an issue, but it doesn't really seem that bad. I mean, I'm putting my finger all over this right now, and it's not like I'm picking up fingerprints that are like completely visible. I've had the Frost version for over a week, and I mean, this thing picks up fingerprints as well. It might not be as showy. Sorry, I'm trying to get it to focus. It might not be as showy with fingerprints, but you're still going to get them. So don't think that if you're going to get a Frost, you're not going to get fingerprints at all, because you're still going to see them, and they're still going to show up, and it just might not be as showy as something that the graphite would do. But again, I don't see, I'm looking at it, and it doesn't really feel, or it doesn't really look like it has, like, it's not like it's picking up my fingerprints like all over the phone. Sorry guys, I'm trying to get it to focus still. But yeah, it's not horrible. It's not like it's not like it has a glass back and your fingerprints are all over it. It's not like this where, I'm pressing on it and you're going to see fingerprints. It doesn't look like that at all on the back. So I wouldn't let that deter you from getting a graphite one if that's the color you're looking for. Again, I know this is a personal preference, so I'm not telling you which one to pick because I think they're still both great colors, whichever one you pick. It's just a matter of what do you like more? Do you like something that's maybe a little more sleek, that's not as showy, or do you want people to see that you do have a Nexus? Because you really can't see it on here unless you're, looking for it or you're looking directly at the phone. There is something else to consider though too, and I've noticed it with people who put like a D-brand skin on it. There's a new skin for D-brand, I think it's called Copper, and I've seen someone put a copper one, and it was another YouTube video I saw, but they put a copper one on here, and it had the white fingerprint back, and it didn't look right to me. It was such a dark color, and then with the white back, it doesn't look as good as I could imagine putting a copper one on here, and this would make more sense just because it's a darker fingerprint sensor. But again, that's all preference. That's really that's really up to you. I know some people, they don't like how it's white and black here, or and they prefer graphite because it kind of blends in. So again, that's all preference. As far as feel goes, yes, the Frost version is going to be a little more grippier, but not by a lot. And yes, the Frost version will probably not pick up fingerprints as noticeable as the graphite version, but again, it's not by a lot. They're still very similar feeling phones. Fingerprints aren't as bad as people might say they are. Like I said, it's not a glass back, so you're not going to have a ton of fingerprints. It's really not a fingerprint magnet. I mean, honestly, if you ask me. But anyway, hopefully this helps for you guys. If you guys have any other questions, just leave them in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer what I can. So, that's it, guys. I will catch you guys soon. Take it easy.